Hi Stephen,
Hello.
how are you?
Good, thanks.
That's good. He's coming from work?
Yeah, just had half a day today, so
Okay,
just finished up now. It's good.
excellent. Do you usually work half a day on a Tuesday?
Oh, sometimes, generally not. Normally 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's kind of half day, Thursday or Friday, pick up an extra.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so half a day today?
Yeah.
Half a day off?
Got out early. It's
That's
good.
excellent. Did you have a busy morning?
Oh, not too bad. Yeah, no,
That's
not
good.
too bad.
Oh, you can relax for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that's right.
That's good. Thanks for coming and seeing me this morning.
No worries.
So what we're going to do today is I'm going to start by just asking you some questions, get a little bit more background information about you, the demands of your sport and your training,
Sure.
and have a bit of a chat about your goals and then make a bit of a plan.
Sure.
Yeah. So thanks so much for filling out the pre-questionnaire. That's just given me some good background information. So I'm just going to go through and clarify a couple of things with you, and as I said, just get a bit more info.
Mm-hmm.
So your job, you're a radiographer.
Yep, that's correct. Yep.
And you mentioned before your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes half a day on a Thursday, and that's what you've put on your form.
Yep, some weekends.
And some weekends.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific.
Generally not during the season anyway.
Okay. And you're living at home with your wife?
Yep.
Yes.
And 2 kids.
And two boys?
Yep.
What are their
That's
names?
Right. Archie and Oliver.
Lovely.
Yeah. So
How old's
keep us
Archie?
busy. He's nearly 7.
Okay.
So he'll be 6 in at the end of the year.
Okay.
So yeah.
Terrific. That would be keeping you busy.
No, they do. Yeah, absolutely. It's good times.
Okay, so your nutritional history, you've said in your form that you haven't followed any diets or ways of eating previously.
No, not really. Just just try and watch what I eat healthy.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. They haven't followed any specific regimes or anything like that.
No.
Okay, good. And your current dietary habits. So I know you've filled out your food diary, which I've got here.
Sure.
We'll go through that a little bit later,
Okay.
in a bit more detail.
Right.
And that's pretty representative of what you're doing from day to day?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much in and around work and training and that. Yeah.
Okay, terrific. We'll go through that one a bit later when we delve in a little bit more to what you're doing with your nutrition in and around your sport.
Sure.
So you're a basketballer, I know that.
Yeah.
So how long have you been playing basketball for?
Competitively for about 5 years.
Okay.
More recently, sort of stepped it up a little bit and playing a little bit at state level. So,
Okay.
Yeah, taking it a bit more seriously.
Right. Okay. And so when you say more recently, is how long? So you said you've been playing basketball for about 5 years, and you've stepped it up.
Yeah, last 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Sort of, playing at a high level.
Okay.
So it's been good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And any other sport at all? You've mentioned AFL down here. Was that? That's not at the same time.
No, that was prior to that. Generally just at a local level.
Okay.
Some rep games, but not very often. More local.
Okay, so really focusing in on your basketball at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Excellent. That's great. Okay. Any injuries? Significant injuries that I should know about?
No, nothing really. I mean, I've probably missed 3 or 4 weeks with an ankle a couple of years ago.
Okay.
But otherwise, no serious injuries.
That's lucky.
Yeah.
Playing footy especially.
Yeah, I guess,
A few knocks and bumps, but nothing significant.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, good. Any health issues or illnesses?
No. Fairly
Healthy?
good health. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any operations or procedures that you've had at all?
No, nothing. No, wisdom teeth out, but nothing. No
So
serious
just your
operations or anything like that.
It's the wisdom teeth.
Yep.
Yeah. And you've got here no allergies. Just wanted to confirm
nothing I
that.
know of, no.
No medications.
No.
You put no for that. Smoking, alcohol, or other drugs?
No.
Okay. And supplementation. Are you taking any supplements or anything at the moment?
Just some protein, like post workouts generally, weights workouts, and just some multivitamin.
Okay, so some protein post weight resistance training workouts.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sorry, what was that? You said, was it multivitamin?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any food likes or dislikes? Is there anything you really don't like?
No, I'm not fussy. I'll eat anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yeah, that's right. I was growing up in a big family. You don't really have too many options.
You grew up in a big family.
Mm-hmm.
One of
Yeah.
how many?
7.
Okay,
Yeah, so
very big family.
Can't be fussy.
No,
Otherwise you
miss out. That's it.
So,
All right. Is there anything else that you wanted to share or that you feel is relevant in relation to what we're meeting today?
yeah, look, just really wanted to come and chat with you and get some thoughts. Generally feeling a bit flat and you know, not energised after games.
Okay.
And you know, generally find it, you know, like probably even the next day, leading into the next day.
Okay.
Just a little bit, lackluster.
Okay.
So, and particularly, you know, on the road and that type of thing, when we go to comps on weekends and that, it's, you know, it's hard to find good, you know, choices to eat and that type of thing. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
So
they're the main things at the moment.
rightio. Okay. So you're feeling a bit flat, energised after your games and the next day.
Yeah.
You said you felt a bit lackluster.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then when you're on the road for competitions on the weekend, you sort of find it hard to make some good choices.
Yeah.
So how often do you do those competitions?
They're not that frequent, but probably once a month, I would say. Yeah. Like, over a weekend, you can play up to 6 or 7 games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have a bit of a look at that as well, and have a talk about some strategies where we can help you out with that.
Yeah.
So I've done some research on basketball. I know of the game, but in terms of the needs analysis of basketball, it's quite fast paced.
Right.
A lot of skill involved. You've got those short durations of high intensity efforts, and the recovery can be really variable because it really depends, I guess, on the game.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of timeouts, a lot of stoppages and that type of thing, but yeah, it's right. Sometimes it can go on for several minutes without a stoppage. So.
Sure. So, I mean, you know, that type of, that high, fast-paced, highly skill-dependent game, those short duration, high-intensity efforts, that places a lot of demands on anaerobic energy system.
Right.
And the aerobic really, because you need the aerobic system for that recovery to be able to go again. So it places demands, I guess, on both of those energy systems, and you've got a lot of movement in the game, changes of direction, accelerating, deaccelerating, very spontaneous. And I guess, though technically it's not a contact sport, there's a bit of contact in it, isn't there?
Particularly in the men's game, absolutely.
There's
a lot of positioning and a lot of body sort of contact. But
and that contact can sometimes impact on, end up with some afterwards, there's that breakdown of muscle a little bit more as well, bruising and things like that. So that's something to consider. Okay. And your position, you said, was point guard, so there's a lot of sprinting with that.
A lot of sprinting up and down, setting up the play.
Okay.
Some perimeter shooting, if you like.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So,
Okay.
So it's there's a lot of running and
a lot of
movement,
a lot of bursts of energy.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So I guess we need to really consider your carbohydrate intake throughout the day in order to give you adequate energy to support your training and your games and your competitions. You also are weight training, so we need to all consider protein.
I'm trying to just build a little bit of muscle bulk, but not overdo it. But
Okay. So you are trying to
weight training.
Okay, sure. So you are wanting to look at increasing a little bit more muscle. That's why you're doing those resistance trainings as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that protein intake is going to help with your muscle repair and recovery after those workouts particularly, but even after your games and your training sessions that don't involve resistance training, that's important as well. Right. So they're the two things we do need to look at.
Right.
So with your training schedule, you're doing weights from what you've written down here on a Monday and a Wednesday, and then sometimes on a Thursday.
Yeah, sometimes. Yep.
Okay, and you're doing that third session to increase get that more muscle mass.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, you've got your skills and your technical.
The basketball training.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so in that time on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, around about how long would the training sessions go for?
Yeah, up to about 90 minutes.
Okay.
You know, at least an hour, but up to 90 minutes.
Sure.
It's really game sort of
Mm.
based training, so simulation, you know, stop and start,
Sure.
you know, sort of variable recovery types of exercise. So,
Sure.
yeah, interval training really in a way.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then, so that's every day you're training except on a Friday? What happens on a Friday?
Friday just tends to be a meeting day and, you know, recovery, you know, stretching, that type of thing day.
Okay,
So,
in preparation
for the weekend.
Your games are
weekend.
mostly on a Saturday, aren't
Yep, yep, Saturday. Sometimes a Sunday.
Okay.
But mainly Saturday.
Mainly Saturday. Okay, terrific. And then the competitions, you mentioned this before, you said they're about once a month.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, weekend away somewhere, generally a regional state competition somewhere. So.
Okay.
Yep.
And are they full games?
Full?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it is full games. You take a good squad, but so you can get some rest between. You know, might miss a game here and there, but they're the full games.
Okay.
So it's pretty full.
It's quite intense, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's good. Good fun though.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that's given me a really good, I guess, overview of your commitments with your training, your competitions, and your home life, which all impacts.
Yep.
So with your goals, you're coming to see me today as your nutrition coach.
Yep.
What do you really, why are you here? What do you want to get out of this session today?
Primarily about, you know, post-game, post-training recovery. You know, what's good to eat, and particularly when on the road, like I said, it's hard to, you know, make some good choices around foods.
Okay.
And just, you know, just like I said, just so I'm feeling more energised and, you know, less lethargic, you know, post-game into the next day even. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. And current issues, is there anything at the moment that is an issue for you?
Probably on a Monday, training can go a bit later with the weights. So I get home a bit later and don't generally feel like having a big meal.
Okay.
So, you know, don't want to feel a little weighed down when I go to bed. So,
of course.
So it's probably an issue.
Okay. Yep. So that's Monday night resistance training. You're doing that a bit later. Yep. Okay. And so where and how do you want to improve? So you want to feel more energised?
Yep, definitely. And particularly post game.
Okay.
Or post workout.
Yes.
You know, and with some fuel for the next day.
Okay.
So that's one of the main things.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, I guess, and just probably having some good ideas around, you know, foods.
Yeah, no worries.
Particularly on the road, I'd say. It's one of the tricky ones.
No worries. Okay, and what's your time frame for wanting to achieve those goals? So the increased energy, the ideas obviously about the post-training and game recovery, the Monday night, the training later, so some other ideas. What are your time frames for wanting to sort of...
Oh, look, it'd be good to be achieving something, probably 4 weeks or something like that. Start to see some, good patterns after 4 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that can be done.
Look, I think that's a really realistic time frame. Gives you a bit of a time to put some of the things in place that we talk about from today and the goals that we set together.
Yep.
So I think that's really realistic. You're sort of not wanting it in a week, but you know, you're not saying 3 months' time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Great. All right. So the key nutritional requirements. An effective strategy generally is to base your meals and your snacks around a nutrient-dense, carbohydrate-rich food. So they're things like your cereals, pastas, and whole grains.
Okay.
And then what you can do is then you add those additional carbohydrate-rich foods into your snacks pre and post workout. So sports drinks, bananas, tinned fruit. In your recovery from training, things like yogurt and fruit, maybe even a small bowl of cereal with some low-fat milk, some low-fat flavoured milk afterwards as well. And so it's really important to ensure that you get adequate carbohydrate intake each day. That's going to make sure that when you get to your training, you're sort of not catching up as well. So you're kind of fueled a bit more throughout the day. And I'll talk with you a bit more about your nutrition diary that you've kept forming a dietary recall. So I guess it's about, making sure you're fueled adequately throughout your day leading into your training. And then that is going to actually help you with your recovery as well. What you eat afterwards is also important, but it's not wholly and solely just what you eat afterwards. We look at an intake of around 5 to 7 grams of carbohydrates per kilo of body weight per day. And that's a really useful starting point for most players, and we'll have a bit of a play around with that. And I guess we need to also manipulate the carbohydrates to reflect your demands. Each day is going to be a bit different. You'll be at work, some days you won't be at work, some days are off. So we need to be considerate of that as well. You are aiming to increase your muscle size, you said before, just a little bit more. So we need to look at that snack afterwards, particularly that's going to provide a good source of carbohydrate and protein for that muscle recovery and repair as well. So we've got game and training preparation. We've got snacks before and after training, and you've got your meals that you eat generally throughout the day. So the key nutritional requirements, as I said, are just making sure we base each meal and snack around the carbs that you're having, and then really looking at protein as well for that muscle mass and recovery afterwards. I'll just skip through here. So with your game and training preparation, you obviously want to feel like you've got fuel on board, but you don't want to be feeling really heavy. When you're looking at 2 to 3 hours prior to your training or your game, we're looking for high carbohydrate, lower fat options with your food. So things like pasta with a low-fat sauce. It might be a lean mince or even a tomato-based sauce. Baked potatoes with low-fat fillings, even baked beans on toast. So they're going to give you some really good fuel sources. Rice with a low-fat chicken curry. You've got your good carbohydrate and your protein there to fuel you. So we're looking at 2 to 3 hours before your training or game with that. Then you've got sort of that hour before. So that's more of a snack, a lighter meal that you want to have. So that's the one that's going to be a bit lighter. So that might be something like a roll or a sandwich with a protein filling. So you might have chicken and salad sandwich or roll. Other ideas, peanut butter and banana sandwich. It's light, but it's going to give you some good energy in terms of the carbohydrates in it. Other things, low-fat muffins are really handy and they're quite portable as well. Some tinned fruit, you can often buy those fruit in a smaller snack size with yogurt, so you're getting that protein and that carbohydrate as well. Even a cereal bar to fuel you beforehand as a snack. So again, these things are not too heavy. So you've got that 2 to 3 hour meal, and then you've got that snack beforehand, just to ensure your muscle glycogen stores, your energy there's kind of up. So they're the carb-rich foods. And we'll have a look at your diary and we'll talk a bit more about that. During your training and during your competition, it's really important that you're also fueling as well. So sports drinks are a really good option. And I know you have a lot of water. You have a lot of water. I saw that, but maybe not so much of the sports drinks. So with the sports drinks, they're important. They're beneficial. They deliver the carbohydrates to the brain and to your working muscles. Provide those electrolytes that you've sweated out, particularly sodium. And they just help replace and balance that sweat loss. So during your training sessions and during your games, incorporating some sports drinks to give you that carbohydrate and that fuel, it's quite ready there. It's absorbed quickly, and it's a fluid, so you're not having to eat anything. So that's something else that can really help you and potentially help you feel a bit more energized even during your training in the game. And then we've got recovery. So recovery, there's three big things with recovery. It's about refueling, repairing and rehydrating. So again, that post-snack afterwards, you want to get that in 30 minutes to an hour after the game when your body really needs it the most. And those snacks, again, fruit salad, yogurt, low-fat flavoured milk, a fruit smoothie, a handful of even fruit and nuts to nibble on. Even a sandwich is fine. So with all of this information we're talking about, I've actually put it all together for you in this pack. So I've got you some ideas of your 2 to 3 hour meal before, your pre and post sort of meal, and then your during as well. So all of this is in here for you.
Good.
But these foods that like I explained before are really going to help fuel you well throughout your day and for your competition, your training. So does that sound? Do those ideas or those foods sound something that you think you could potentially implement and do?
Yeah, absolutely. To have that sort of stuff on board around the house most of the time.
You might even have it there already, but maybe not have thought about it as options for you.
That's right. That's right.
And things that are really sort of quick and easy to grab: a tub of yogurt and a piece of fruit. You know, a banana.
Definitely.
And you said you have your protein, so you could even after a workout, you have your protein. You could stick half a banana in that into your shake, so making it a bit easier for you, so you're not sort of really worried and thinking all the time about preparation.
Yeah, that's right. It's done.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So with your dietary habits, we're going to have a look at your recall.
Right.
So I can see on Monday,
Yep.
Tuesday and Wednesday, that's when you work, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So your intake's a bit less.
Yeah.
Overall?
Probably. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Fairly on the go and you know, on your feet and
at work.
And trying to stick to a schedule. So
Right.
That's right. So you generally just eat less. I guess. You have less time.
Do you recognise that was something maybe that was happening, or is it just a reflection now? You're sort of thinking about it.
Oh, it's probably more on reflection. You kind of just do it at the time. You don't think too much about it.
You're busy, you're on your feet. It's understandable, and you probably, you know, with your job, you've got to see patients when you've got to see them.
That's right.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So one of the things we can work towards is maybe looking at on those days some other options for you so that you are better fueled throughout the day.
Right.
Maintaining good carbohydrate, nutrient dense meals or snacks throughout the day, because Monday night is your late training night.
Yeah.
So what I've noticed in your recall is that you got your breakfast and your lunch, and then you go to your training, and there's a big gap there. So do you finish work at 5 and you train at 8? So there's something that happens in between there for you?
Some family commitments we do have on. So the kids might have some sport on or something like that. That's generally what happens.
Okay, sure. And obviously really important that you're still involved in that.
Yeah, I love doing that sort of thing.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Going along, watching and
Of
helping
course.
out.
Yep. So that's kid family commitments.
Yep.
It's a sport, is it?
Yeah, so the kids play soccer generally, or have soccer training on Monday night. So down at the soccer rooms and the soccer oval there. Yep. So that's most Monday nights.
That's most Monday nights.
Yeah.
So you're watching, or are you generally just watching them?
Yeah, generally just watch. Yeah.
Okay.
Help out from time to time.
Generally just watching and supporting.
Correct. Yeah.
Is there any is there means there for you to be able to maybe have a meal? It doesn't have to be something you heat up. If you can, that's great. But if you can't, it doesn't matter.
There's a kitchen and a canteen at the soccer club rooms and that. Yeah. So there's I think there's like microwave and that type of thing there.
Okay.
So yeah, possibly
look at maybe even zapping a meal and having that.
Definitely.
That's that big gap. So I'm trying to sort of think about ways that we can get some more fuel into you before you head off to training. Yeah. So you're sort of there between 5 and 6:30. So and you don't have anything after lunch.
Sure.
So potentially what you could do if it works out is that you could actually have almost like your 2 to 3 hour meal before training at that time.
A big tea time then, wouldn't
well, it potentially would be
close to
for you. So, again, you can have those things like your pastas and your rices, a Thai noodle salad with lean beef,
Sure.
potato with some filling, lean fillings, a rice with the low-fat chicken curry. One of those meals that you can cook but reheat and it's okay, rather than, piece of steak and veg. But something you can have maybe as leftovers from a day before. Even, a homemade pizza with some lean toppings on them. Pizza can be sometimes okay, cold even. So if that's something that you think might work for you, we can. I think that would be a good thing to try. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely an option.
Okay.
If it's something I don't have to heat, probably even better. But there is that option there.
There is that option there. Yeah, absolutely. So we can look at some options for even some. You can have there's some nice chicken and quinoa salads and things like that. It's good protein, some good carbohydrates. Add some veggies into that. So what I will do is I'll make a note to maybe look at some non-cooking options for you.
No worries.
For that meal, as well as on the days where you feel like you could manage to heat, that's an option there. You can use any of those other meals that I've put in here for you. That's just going to give you something before you go to your training at 8 o'clock. So you haven't had anything since lunchtime. So and then afterwards you can go back to one of those snack options, those post-training snack options that's got your carbs and your protein, because it's a resistance training session, which we've talked about. Okay, so your yogurts and your fruits, or even if you came home and you felt like some toast with some jam or something like that's a bit lighter.
You don't have to have a big meal.
You don't have to have a meal, some yogurt afterwards for that protein. You can even have your shake. I know you quite like the shake, so you could have that as well. And that's lighter, and you're not going to bed like sort of later with a heavy meal in your tummy, but you've actually refueled yourself.
Feel a bit better the next day as well.
That would definitely help towards that. So that's the Monday. Look, after training on a Tuesday, you've got the opportunity. Training's earlier on the Tuesday. If you could get home, you see sometimes you do. There's the rolls and sandwiches, the muffins, creamed rice, fruit and yogurt. So on the Tuesday you could have more of that snack because your training's early. You're not going to have a meal. Then you go off to your training, and when you come home, you'd have your dinner. So just the timing of that. I noticed on a Tuesday with your dinner, you come home from work, the workout, and it said on your recall you had fish and veg. So that's great. That's a good meal. Fish. The fish is high in protein. Or salmon, I think, from the recall.
Mainly.
You could add some rice or even some bread into that, because you've worked out, and there's the fish and veg doesn't have a lot of carbohydrate there. So even if you added in some carbohydrates to that, again, just to refuel that muscle glycogen. So just keeping in mind that balance with your meals after.
Definitely.
And on the road, easy to manage meals. So it's tricky for you. You stay in motels?
Mainly motels, and I generally have a restaurant there, so we generally eat down at the restaurant, for meals and that sort of thing.
So, So you could always suss out the restaurant beforehand. If you were inclined to, or maybe someone in the team might want to do that.
Get the manager to do it or something.
Potentially, just have a look at the menu, make sure there's some good choices. I know some restaurants are a bit hit and miss, you don't really know. But then that just gives you peace of mind. If there's a protein and a veg dish, and you could add, some rice or pasta dish on there as well. You would kind of be a little bit more confident, I suppose, in what you're eating. Some of that stuff's a bit beyond your control as well, and I understand that. I guess those easy to manage meals in the hotels, if they've got a toaster in the room, you could take bread and muffins. Often there's spreads there. Yogurts, again, to the fruit in its individual serves. Even fresh fruit. Good options. Your sports drinks.
Yep.
We talked a bit about that, making sure you've got plenty of those for your competition. If you're playing 6 games, you want to make sure you bring enough to be able to drink through each game and even after the games.
Okay.
And your protein shaker, you can take your protein along if that's something that you like to have that a bit. So you could always have that afterwards as well.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely,
Yep.
definitely. So I actually put together some of those more portable, easy to manage meal ideas for you in this resource. And obviously, you need to be able to keep things. So you might be a bit wary about taking yogurt with you to the competition, but maybe that's back in the hotel room. You want to keep those things refrigerated. Hydration in a day. I see that you're having about 1 to 1.5 litres a day.
On a normal day. Yep, that's about right.
Yeah. So that's probably something that we could potentially work on.
Sure.
A bit more hydration. So that you mentioned before, energy and fatigue, and that dehydration can certainly contribute to that.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think that's something that you'd be happy to work?
I tend to think that I do need to drink more water, and
sure.
I suppose everyone does.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Push it up to 2 litres or something. Aim for around that or something.
That's a really good aim. That's definitely a good aim, good goal. We can aim for 2 litres over the next couple of weeks and see how that's going, and then maybe even a little bit more. So it's really important, even before bed, if you can have 500, 600 mils, particularly if your training's at night. So you go into bed with, I guess, already starting to keep that high. And when you wake up in the morning, first thing you have a glass of water. Start off. So again, I've got some hydration sort of strategies as well, like things to think about. And you obviously get some fluid in the foods that you eat as well. So, and you're having your protein shakes with water. So you're doing well. I think
the water by itself.
And having that with your meals as well, just as something to do. Then there's not that pressure at the end of the day to sort of try and get in all of this water that maybe you haven't had throughout the day. That could help with your fatigue levels as well.
Makes sense.
Okay. One more thing that I noticed with your recall, you've got a massive training load on a Thursday. Tell me about your Thursday nights.
So generally do a weight session and then into the basketball sort of skills, game simulation training. So, up to maybe 4 hours, afternoon on Thursday night. So
how do you feel on a Thursday after that?
Pretty fatigued, pretty worn out.
I bet. So it's a big chunk of time, isn't it?
It is. Yep.
On the days that you don't work on a Thursday, is it possible, and how would you feel about putting that resistance training session maybe earlier in the day and then having your skills and your technical fitness-based team session in the evening at the usual time? Would that be something that would fit with your routine, with your family and things like that?
Probably. I mean, get the kids off to school and that, and then there's not much stopping doing some weights in the morning or something like that, and then
would you be happy to do
I
that?
guess. It'd be worthwhile giving it a go.
Sure.
See what how it works
out. It's a big chunk of time to be, exercising and in one go. And I just thought maybe that's something that you can chat with your team manager and the coach about that a bit more as well. Make sure that they don't have any sort of big objections to that. But I sort of think
I'm sure they wouldn't. Probably have more energy training too.
Quite possibly. And the timing of your food throughout the day. So my thoughts were, if you were happy to do that, you trained maybe in the morning, like you said, get the kids off to school. So, breakfast you could have, I noticed that you have your brekkie pretty early, so you could still do that. A couple of slices of toast with jam, cereal with some low-fat milk, fruit and yogurt, water early, and then around that 9:30 mark, go for that pre-workout snack, 30 minutes to an hour beforehand. Might be a cereal bar, might be a muffin, low-fat muffin, maybe even some sports drink beforehand. Head off to your training session. Have your post-training snack afterwards that's got your protein and your carbohydrates in it, which we've talked about. maybe you could have a meal at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So around 1 o'clock you have, I know that you like your chicken. So
Have a
chicken,
good
veg
meal.
and rice
Yeah, right.
at lunchtime.
Yep.
Then you're ready to head off into your evening workout. You might have another little snack before you head in.
Yep.
Just something light.
Okay.
Go into your hour and a half of training of your evening.
Yep.
And then come home. You got your post-workout
Have a snack and
then meal. Yeah. Yep. So just that timing, I guess, of it all.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah. So I've just put that down as an idea for you in here.
Okay.
And again, just obviously on the days that you're working, you wouldn't be doing your resistance training in the morning, so that's different.
Yeah.
But maybe it's something to consider trying, and just that timing of those meals for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, so is there anything else that you wanted to talk about at all? Is there any questions on anything that
No. I think
discussed at all?
Yeah, like it all sounds really good.
Okay.
Just got to get in and be organised and,
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you do the cooking at home, or does
Yeah,
your partner,
no,
wife?
do a bit. It's probably 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah, but definitely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. So it would be it's something you could sort of, when you do get the recommendations, maybe sit down together and sort of work out how that's going to fit for your family as well.
Yep, definitely. Cook a bit extra and have that leftovers, like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, particularly on that Monday night, that's a big day for you.
Yeah.
So just being prepared and starting the week off well. Yeah,
definitely.
Okay. All right, that's great. So, what we're going to do after, I'll just summarise everything and just make sure I've addressed your goals. And then what we will do is we'll just take some baseline measurements.
Okay.
So we'll look at height, weight, BMI, your body mass index, and some of this stuff you'll have done with the team. Look at your percentage of body fat, your girth measurements, and particularly around your goals of increasing your muscle mass. I think another thing that we should potentially track is because you identified the energy levels as an issue. If you're happy to keep a diary for another week, maybe even each day looking at your energy levels on a scale of 0 to 10. So 0, no energy, 10, fully energized. And then you might do that, say, in the middle of the day, and maybe even how you felt during your training or your games, and then potentially doing that throughout the week, just to see how those energy levels change over time with some of these recommendations we're talking about.
Definitely.
That will just help us track it a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've got the handouts. It's got some main meal ideas. It's got your snack ideas pre and post
thank you.
in there. And I will give you a recipe for the low-fat muffins.
Okay.
Yeah. And
even
the homemade pizza.
Okay.
Just a few ideas, and then the other thing I'll email through was the colder meal options for that Monday night for you. So I will email those to you, and then you'll be able to add them to your resource here. Just revisit those goals, make sure we've touched on everything. So post-training and game recovery, ideas for foods to eat, and on the road with competition. You're feeling like you've got a bit more of an idea of that to implement. Okay, and they are in here as well if you need to reflect back. I think that's going to help with your energy levels and hydration. We've got a goal in and around 2 litres of water initially. We've talked about, you said you identified an issue was that Monday night. So we've talked about some strategies in and around that. More energised for the next day. We've talked about that, and we're looking at that 4-week time frame. So I think what would be good if we could maybe touch base within 1 to 2 weeks with your nutrition recall. Just see how you're going, make
energy diary.
Exactly, and see how you feel making those changes. And then we can then set another time depending on what your needs are from there.
Okay.
Does that sound?
Yeah, sounds really good.
Sounds okay.
Cool.
Good. All right. Excellent. One other thing, actually, I'll just mention. When we're trying these things with the food, I think one thing we need to be really mindful of is we do them in training first. So we make sure that you have your food as we've recommended and talked about pre and post, but we don't want to be going and trying new things on game day. So all of these ideas are best implemented through training. And then if they're working and you're feeling good, then we look at making sure it's in at game day. There might be something that you eat that maybe doesn't agree with you. We might be feeling a certain way. So we just probably want to keep track of that a little bit.
Okay.
We never want to do something brand new and different on game day.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, it does make sense.
All right.
Definitely.
So I think that's all. If there's anything else though, you've got any questions after this session and you're reflecting, you think, oh, I need to know about that, don't hesitate, just be in touch.
Yep, will do.
Got those resources there for you. And are you okay to catch up in a week's time?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll get that diary in and have a look at that. So
Okay.
See
Perfect.
how it's going.
All right. So if we aim maybe for, would the Tuesday still work okay with work? Or would you prefer to maybe do it on a Thursday next
Thursday
week?
might be better.
Perfect.
Safer option.
Same time?
Yeah,
or
that's fine.
Okay. So next Thursday, so we're looking at about 9 days away. We'll have a follow-up appointment. Keep doing your nutrition recall, your energy levels. Implement some of this stuff in and around your training, the food recommendations, and hopefully we'll see how that
definitely
works
Excellent.
for you.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, no worries. You're welcome.
Help me out for sure.
Great. Thanks, Stephen.